So last lecture, you guys implemented HTML, and so right now we're going to make it a lot prettier, and we're going to learn how to do that. So, let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, amazing. Okay, so let's start. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and it basically just describes how HTML elements are displayed on your screen, paper, or in other media, and it can control the layout of multiple web pages at once, so it does save you a lot of work. And yeah, so as I said before, this is just like a list of descriptions, and you basically just use this to define the style for your web page, like the design, the layout, the variations in display for different devices and screens. And yeah, HTML was never intended to contain tags for formatting a web page. It was more so to describe the content of a web page, like this is a heading, this is a paragraph, and stuff like that. And they solved this problem by creating CSS. So if you look at this page or Facebook, you can see that there's a lot of styling that does go into this. Like the color is blue. There is a navigation bar that sticks, and there's a lot more. But overall, like it gives the web page a look and makes you want to, I guess, or just makes it easier to go through the content compared to this page, right? Like I would be a lot more motivated to look at the previous page rather than this. And this is currently what your dog generator looks like, but we will attempt to make it look better after this lecture. And yeah, it's basically just making things look pretty. And the basics of it are that there's a selector. So what you guys had before in the, like, do you remember the tags in HTML? There was like the P and then or there's just a bunch of tags. And so what you can do is you can select what tags you want to give these character traits or these descriptions. And inside this little body, you can define the property that you want and then the value that you want to give your property. And like Justin said in the previous lecture, if you don't know something, you just Google it. And some of the most common ones are color, font family, and font size. So this is a basic HTML template that you probably saw in the last lecture. And so to give it, I guess, like paragraph some color, what we do is we call it by using the selector P because it is in a paragraph, if you can see in the HTML file right above it. And we characterize it by giving red color, the font, and then the size. And then that's how it looks like, if that makes sense. And yeah, so any HTML tag can have a class or an ID attribute, and this is how we will be calling these HTML, this is how we'll be calling like the little tags to give them the attributes, if that makes sense. So like if we give it a class hello, then in the CSS file, we can call it using .hello. So yeah, as you can see here, we've given this class hello, and currently it's being referred to .p because, or just the p that we have right there, because I haven't actually written hello inside style, so it refers to the tag itself. But once we write .hello and we give it a color and font size and font weight, then it refers to the class instead, if that makes sense. And if I'm going too fast, like please just let me know and I'll slow down. And if you guys have questions, also let me know. Oh, I should probably open it. Oh, okay. And yeah, so you can also refer to it by its ID, but the thing is that each ID must be unique. Each class does not have to be unique. So multiple things can refer to the same class, which is what I said before, that it does make formatting a lot easier because you can give a lot of things the same class and design. But with this ID, I can refer to it with the hashtag symbol. And yeah, as you can see there, I have unique, and then I give it a color, font size, and font weight, and it turns into that. So yeah, just going over like more in depth the difference between IDs and classes. There is only one ID per element, but there can be many classes per element. IDs are unique, classes are not unique, and IDs start with the hashtag symbol, and then classes start with dot. So like before, I said dot hello, and then for the ID, I did like hashtag unique. Okay, so now to combine the two, you have to declare this thing, like this line, and it's basically just saying that relative, so the rel is relative, so relative to this, the CSS file will be your style sheet, and you give it, like, if I call it style.css, then I will link it with the href, and yeah, so it will refer to style.css for all the styles in my HTML file. And yeah, this is I just wrote some things to like make it more or just like to reinforce the ideas, but yeah, like a CSS basically just describes what is in the HTML. And yeah, so how do we know what CSS properties to use? As I said before, you just Google, and now we're going to try it together. If that was a little fast, just let me know, but yeah, that was just like the basics. And so now pull up what you had, the thing that you made with Justin. And so currently this gives me this dog generator. I'm assuming you guys also have this.
Yeah.
And just like I said at the end of the slides, what you want to do is you want to link under your title. I can paste it in the chat, but this is usually, sorry, this is like the typical, yeah, like the mandatory thing to link your CSS file to your HTML. And so I'm going to create a new file called index.css. And yeah, does that make sense? Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing is adding classes to my divs. And also I will be doing that so that in the CSS file, I can link to that class and give it certain properties. Okay, so I guess the first thing that I'm gonna do is just give, so this div is in charge of like this entire body, right? So I'm gonna give it a class name. I'm just gonna call it like body content. And when I do that, that means that I can go into the index.css folder and then call body content. And I'm gonna do dot body content because this is a class and not an ID. So I guess just some things that are pretty typical when declaring like the descriptions of your body is having flex, which, sorry, I totally spelled that wrong, which in this slide, if you can see, flex is like a flexible box that lets you control the direction, sizing, distribution, and more of items. And it basically just expands items to fill available free space or shrinks them to prevent overflow. And it's direction agnostic, but you can declare the direction by using flex direction, if you can see. So then it will accommodate the extra space in column or row. So yeah, I have now declared flex, and then I will declare flex direction to be column. And oh, sorry, this needs a semicolon. And then I want to align things to the center. I don't know. I just like to do that. So it's also personal preference. And you can also give things a padding if you want. So I will just give it a padding. And yeah. So now, as you can see, things are aligned in the center now and not on the left. And it does look, I guess, a bit better, but we'll be improving things a lot more. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes, it makes sense. Can you just go over the file again?
Oh, you mean index.css?
Yes, yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so then the next thing that I want to do is I do want to make the title a bit prettier. And I think I'm just going to go straight down. So I'm going to deal with the title first, and then the image, and then the buttons. So if you guys are okay with this, I will move on. Okay, so I'm going to put the title in a div and then call it title. And this will basically like act the same as the heading, but H1 automatically gives it like this bolded format, and I just don't want that. So I will be using the div class title. Okay, now I'll go here, and then because I called it class title, I'll be doing dot title, and then let's just say okay, yeah, I'm gonna go a bit slower because I have been getting requests to do that. So oh yeah, for sure. So these are just the traits that I've played with in my own free time, and I just like how it looks like this. But I gave this title the font size and the spacing in between letters, and it looks like that now. I don't know if this is what you guys like, but yeah, that is what I have. And the CSS and HTML file does not need to have this, do not need to have the same name. That was my bad. I can call this dog.html. Yeah, and it'll be fine. And how does the CSS file connect to the HTML? I connected it with the link that I pasted before. I can paste it again. And yeah, for people who want me to go slower, I will try to go slower. So currently what I have in this index.css file is just the formatting for body content and title. You definitely don't need to follow the formatting that I'm using. This is just something that I played with and I kind of like how it looks. So yeah, feel free to do whatever size you want. Oh, did I not record it? Oh wait, there is recording, yeah. Yeah, there will be recording. And yeah, is it okay for me to move on or? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so now I'm just gonna be characterizing the image. I'm gonna in what case? Image, and then div. And so I guess like for now, I'll still put the link, but before what I wanted to, or so like how I wanted this dog generated to look like was, I guess I can show the final output. Maybe that will give you guys a better idea. but the general idea was to have like just a random dog pop up. So I don't want to put an image link here, if that makes sense, because that kind of constricts what I will be doing. So instead, I will create an ID for it. So then later, I can refer to like this ID when I want to put in like just a random image, right? Okay, so for dot image, I'm going to characterize it. And just like what you saw before, that is kind of that's kind of the styles that I played with. And so I'm just going to give it a height and width and a border radius. Oh, do you want me to go back to the HTML file? Okay, here's the HTML file. Okay, does that make sense? Oh, so yeah, what I did with the image is, so like the final output, I guess, I will be talking about this in the next lecture when I go over JavaScript, but what I want is it to be not just one specific image. I want to be able to put a lot of different images inside that one box. So I'm gonna give it an ID. So currently there won't be an image, but later when I add the JavaScript, I can then call this ID box, and then that JavaScript will automatically put the image in that ID box, if that makes sense. And so yeah, I'm gonna go continue just writing what I had, but the border radius just makes it a circle, and you can play with that as well to see. And I want to center it. And I want it to not be, so margin bottom and margin top just is telling you from how far from the top and how far from the bottom you want your image to be. And so yeah, that is what I have. So I changed the name. Okay. Yeah. So I don't have an image, so it doesn't look as good. You guys can keep the image if you want, but this is just in what's called foreshadowing, I guess, of the JavaScript lecture. So yeah. Okay. So after creating my image, I'm gonna go to the input now. So right now it's just like a box. So I will be calling it index input class equals dog input, I guess, or dog input, and then ID equals the dog name. And this is just, again, I'm making ID so that later I can grab whatever the person inputted and then use that for JavaScript. Okay, and then for my buttons, I will be creating a class called button container. And that allows me to design how I want these buttons to be formatted like as a whole. And then I can also customize each button by itself by giving each button a class. So button submit, and then it's gonna say find a random dog. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, but it'll be for random because, oops, sorry, find specific. and then find random dog. And yeah, I'm just gonna delete that. But yeah, so now I've created a class for all of the things that I do want to customize. And if you guys are ready to move on, I will go into the CSS portion. All right, so, oh, can you slow it? Okay, I will just leave it there then, and then wait a few minutes, and you guys can, if you guys have questions, just let me know. And yeah, I won't move on. I will stay here for a bit. Yeah, you guys can call these classes. Oh, sorry, please speak.
Oh yeah, I just had a question about like classes and IDs. So like you can like assign something a class and ID, right? But if you like have like CSS formatting for like an ID and a class, but they clash, like what CSS formatting does it like use?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that it goes, the ID takes precedence, but I actually am not sure. Well, I would assume that the ID takes precedence, but
And also, what's
I
the
also,
point of like also like when would you use like a class? Like, cause if you like you, cause I understand classing can be used for multiple items, but ID is only for one item. But like, why can't you just use if you're gonna just use one item, you could also like why not just use a class? Like, why would you ever specifically use an ID instead of like a class?
yeah, for sure. So I'm using an ID because I want to access this element through JavaScript later. So I will be able to call the ID of this specific HTML tag in particular. So usually I use, yeah, I agree. Like I don't usually use ID, but if I were, like I would need, but like because I'm using JavaScript for this case and I want to access this specific element, I do need an ID. So
So
like as
if
you
like
can see, like well, I'm not planning on creating designs, I guess, for any IDs. It's mostly just for classes, if that makes sense.
okay, wait, and so then can you not like call in specific elements like by class from JavaScript?
Wait, sorry, what do you mean?
So like if like you have like a class that's only used by one element, because like you said you're using, because like the point of using an ID so that you can call upon that element in JavaScript, right? So can you call upon like
Yeah,
a class in JavaScript or no?
no, like I don't think so. That's why I use ID.
Okay, okay.
And you guys have more questions, feel free to ask. Um, yeah, I guess that's enough time maybe, and now we'll go into CSS or wait, okay, got it.
Wait, sorry, I have another question. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, so you can also apply like, let's say like you like had the text in like a paragraph, so you could also like apply CSS formatting to the paragraph, right? So and if you have
Yeah, for
like
sure.
other paragraphs, would it also have that CSS formatting?
Yeah, it would.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I can, wait, where is the Q&A doc? I can paste all my code here. Um, I don't know if I should paste it now. I guess I can just paste it now and update it as I go. So and then index.css. Yeah, hopefully that helps. And this is the, yeah, that is. Um, I actually use React more. I guess Java, of course. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't, to be honest, I don't really use like vanilla HTML CSS, which a lot of people do, but I use React. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's, yeah, definitely go check it out. It makes your life a lot easier, in my opinion. No, no, it just makes your life easier. Like there's a lot of packages already, and you don't need like, yeah, so um React is, I don't know if you guys are interested, but it's this, and it does use like the basic concepts of um JavaScript and, oh, and that's probably because you haven't added any like formatting to your image, right? Like once you add formatting in your CSS file to that image, it will probably change size. Yes. Um, yeah. Are you guys ready to move on, or should I wait a bit more?
Could you go to the HTML file?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just a little. Thank you.
Oh, and my image link, I deleted it because like I said before, I guess I just don't want it right now because one, it doesn't look that good, but two, just like in the future when I use JavaScript, like I'm not going to be using that specific image. I'm going to be referring it to like with that image ID that I have. So yeah, I did delete my button tag. I replaced it with div class button. So I will be implementing that in a few minutes. So I'll be creating how I want the button to look more like.
I also have a question. Why did you, I think like sometimes you put the class like in the, like you put it with the div, and then for the input you put the class like with the input and like not the div. I don't know how to explain it, but why did you do that?
Oh, yeah. So like I can remove, yeah, like it doesn't matter, I guess. Like I could have put it with the div, I could have put it with the input. So like technically I don't need the div. So yeah, I guess good catch. But you can put it with whichever one you want. Just yeah.
Okay.
We put a link to the index. Oh, you mean like where the link is. Like it doesn't have to be in the middle, in between rel and type, if that makes sense. Like it can be before rel, before type. Yeah. Okay, so I will move on then. Oh, can a div have multiple classes? Yes, it can. Okay, where did I leave off? Dot image. Okay, so now I have to format the dog input. So let me just copy that. Actually, no, that's not a good idea. Okay, so for dog input, I don't know. Also, again, like these descriptions or these formats, you can have whatever you want. This is just the things that I played with. So with 50% of the div that is in, and then font size, I'm just gonna go with like 25. And then I don't really want it to have this outline. So, and then I'm gonna align the text in the center. And then all the text that is inputted in the file itself, I want it to be that font. And then I'm gonna give it a padding 10. Oops, what the? And then no border. And then so that makes it a little bit rounded, if that makes sense. So yeah, it just looks like that now. So I guess it looks like more aesthetic. I don't know, this is my opinion. Maybe you guys want to keep the border, maybe you guys want to keep the outline, all up to you. But yeah, that's currently how it looks like. And I guess to better see the box, I can give it a shadow. And I did play with the colors beforehand, so I do have this. I will put it in the Q&A file, but that makes me see the box a bit better. So, yay. Okay.
Excuse me.
That makes sense? Yeah?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, for sure.
Up because I wasn't here for the first meeting, and when I press debug or like compile my my code, it says like a JSON error, so I don't know what to do.
Sorry, what error?
It says variable and then it puts $, workspace folder cannot be resolved. Please open a folder, and then it has a button saying open JSON, open launch JSON, or cancel.
Wait, so where did you put your code? Did you put it in a .html file and a .css file?
I just have the .html file for now in Visual
Okay.
Studio Code.
And you copied exactly what was on the Q&A doc?
Yep. I don't know where the Q. I just I watched your screen and I copied exactly what was on it. I've not been to the Q&A
Here,
doc
maybe
yet.
there's the Q&A doc. The code's on there. Maybe look at that and let me know if you
Okay.
solved the issue.
I've just never ran anything in HTML before, so I am.
So what you want to do is double click on the file and then it should pop up in your browser.
Should I go to my folder? Or
Yeah,
File
the folder
Explorer?
where your file's in.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
sorry, you're running. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let us continue then. I will be doing, yeah, sure. Okay, what's the next one? Button container. Okay. So again, I'm gonna have display flex and then direction row. And this is because I don't want the buttons to be on top of each other. I want it to be in the same row. And then so yeah, now it's in the same row. And I guess for submit, actually, let me just call it submit. That will be easier. So for dot submit, I'm just gonna give it a background. Oh wait, is both submit? Okay. Background color of, and so that's just the code for that color. And then for dot random, I'm gonna give it background color of pink. So there you go. That, I guess, looks a lot better than when we first started out. And yeah, let me copy all the code and put it in the Q&A. And yeah, that's the end of my CSS teaching. I know we ended early, but the JavaScript portion is a lot longer. I guess if you guys have any questions, let me know.
I can't get my search bar to work nicely.
Wait, sorry, what?
I can't get my search bar to work nicely.
This?
Yeah.
So you mean it doesn't work, right?
It shows up, but not in the way I would like it. When I used percentages, I think it was doing percentages of the 400 pixel width of the entire.
Wait, sorry, do you have a more specific, or I don't know how to help you in that aspect. Wait, are you asking about percentages?
I don't know what the search bar is like in, because when I used 75%, it was like way smaller.
Oh, dog. Okay. Well, it should be in your big div class. Like this whole body content.
It is. Oh, wait, I think I know the problem.
Sorry, I'm not exactly sure. I think I just put it inside this div class, and then when I called the 50%, it should reflect.
I found
would
the
say.
problem. I made the input the class and not the div it's in.
Okay, sounds good.
can't get
I
my
have a question.
phone side by side. My buttons, like they're still on top of each other.
Oh, you need to do flex. And you need to define the direction that it's row.
Okay, wait. So do I need to add something into the HTML for that to work?
I gave the container, like I surrounded both of these buttons with a container so that everything inside this container is in a row.
Okay, hold on. Let me like see what I did wrong.
And also,
I have a-
oh yeah, sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask, like, is there a way that we could like separate the two buttons?
Yeah, if you give it like, what is that command again? Like, wait, sorry, I Googled. Also,
Holy Grail.
just like Spexbox Froggy. Wait, this is like a thing that could help you if you do want to learn more about it. But there is a thing, yeah, it's called flex. Oh no, space between. So it'll space everything equally in between your things, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, if you guys do want that, that does help.
I've got a quick question as well.
Yeah, for sure.
How come when I run my file, I get it in Microsoft Edge and not in Google Chrome?
You can copy your link and then just put it in Google Chrome.
Okay.
I guess maybe Edge is your default. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know how to stop that. I just like both, so I really keep them.
I also have a question. So for the between thing that you just showed, where would we put that? Like in our code?
So you would just put it like here. Like I guess I can put it like in the container. Justify content center. Or you can also put like space between.
Okay, thanks.
How would I shift my search bar up?
Your search bar up. So you would change it in your dog input, and then you could have like margin bottom so much so that it's like this much from the bottom. Or if you want it more below, you can change margin top.
Oh, I totally didn't forget to add in margins.
But yeah, like if you did want to do space between or space around, you could do like space between. Oh, I guess mine just simply. Maybe my container is not that big. I honestly, yeah, that should work. I could, but yeah, you call it using justify content and then use space between or space around or something like that. And how you can change the image. So I will be going over that in the JavaScript lecture. So come back. And I'll call it using the ID that I have. Or not that ID, this ID. Yeah, I guess they become intuitive once you're more familiar with it. To be honest, I'm also not like an expert. So I just end up like Googling stuff. So yeah. Huh. Not as long as mine. It might be because are you are you like I know someone else, I can't remember who had the same error or like they were mislabeling the classes. You should be pretty I don't know. I think it might be something related to what class you put the input under maybe, or where you formatted, like what class you refer to when you were formatting. Does that make sense? I don't know. I would just double check that and see if that changes anything.
My like alignment is like all messed up. Like I have my title and then like text and they're like in the middle, and then the text thing and the buttons on the bottom are like slightly to the right.
Same.
To the
Everything's to the
right.
right except for my title.
That also happens to me.
Really bothering me.
Maybe.
Really ruining the aesthetic.
Huh. Honestly, maybe it was something that I did. Let me see. Everything's to the right. If you make your screen larger, does that still happen? Or if you make your screen smaller, does that still happen? Maybe it's just like, I think I might have hard coded something, but I'm not sure what. So you're saying everything here is to the right? Like these buttons?
Yeah, and the texting, they're like slightly more to the right of like the title.
Huh. Dog and foot.
I do. I have the aligned things centered.
Yeah, that's interesting because yeah, like align item center should take care of that. I think I guess if a lot of people have this issue, maybe like the only thing I can think of right now is that maybe your div class, you didn't put it all in the same div class. Like that could be a reason. Like all of this should be in body content, if that makes sense. So that all of them are aligned together. Okay, that's good to hear, Vanj. But yeah, maybe like the only thing that I can think of is that like you guys are probably not like everything that is to the right is probably not in body content with your title. Because everything in body content should be in the center. The
I've
third
got.
practice for, oh yeah, sorry, ask. Go for it.
Okay, well, my question was, which I think Jessica kind of answered already, but I don't still fully get it. In your code, you have title dog generator and then the smiley face, or I guess the smiley symbol. And then later on, you say div class equals title dog generator. But would it work the same without having the one with the smiley on top? Like without having that line of code on top? Or do those two lines of code serve a different purpose?
Yeah, these serve a different purpose. This is body, so what I'm seeing is my body. If that makes sense. So like that's why I don't see a smiley face. And then this refers to all the like links that I need, like anything that I need to declare before I put it in head. And then in body is where I want to see everything.
So yeah, I don't fully get it, to be honest. I'm sorry.
Wait, no, you're all good. Like, how do I say it? I would just say that like the head is used to import other files and define like attributes of my page.
Oh, so like if it was a bigger code, so if it was a bigger code, this would just help differentiate which is which, like functions in normal coding.
No, wait,
No.
like kind of, or like on my HTML page, I have a head and I have a body tag, and the body tag is where I guess like yeah, it's like they have different functions. Yes. So the body is like where I place all the parts of my website that I want to see, and then the head is like where I declare like my files, my attributes, stuff like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that does.
and like what Donovan said in the chat, like the dog generator with the smiley face, it's the name of the tab. Like you can see like next to Q&A, like dog generator with a smiley face is there. So that's what the title is.
Okay. Thank you.
Also that, yes. Sorry, I muted myself. Well, okay then. So I guess we'll have a break now and then come back at 3:15. And all the code is in the doc. And feel free to type your questions and we'll try to answer them. Otherwise, if we don't